Welcome back. In this tutorial, you'll learn how to create your first banner set, design a banner from scratch, add animations, and generate additional banner sizes in just a few minutes. Let's get started. Here, on the Banner's dashboard, let's click Add Banner. If you only need a single banner size, you can choose to create a single banner. For this tutorial, we'll create a banner set, which is a collection of banner sizes grouped together. First, let's rename the banner set to Get Started. Next, select the default language. Bannernow supports multiple translations, allowing you to create localized versions of your banner. You can also enter a default landing page URL. If you don't have one yet, you can leave this field blank and update it later. Below that, you'll see the option to connect a dynamic content feed. This is useful when you want to display product information dynamically from an external data source. For this tutorial, we'll create a simple animated banner without any data connections. Click Create. The next step is to add our first banner size. Click Add Size. Here, you have several options. You can create a banner from scratch, start with one of the available templates, or import designs directly from Photoshop or Figma using the Bannernow plugin. For this tutorial, we'll create a banner from scratch. On the left side, you'll see a selection of predefined banner sizes, and you can also create a custom size by clicking on this button. I'll select 300 by 600 pixels and click Create. Now we're inside the banner editor. On the left, you'll find the global settings and design tools. In the center is the canvas, where you'll build your banner. And at the bottom is the timeline, where you'll control animations and layer timing. We'll start by adding a background image. Click Add Image. You can choose an image from the library, browse stock images, or generate an image using AI. I'll upload a background image that I've already prepared for this tutorial. Now, let's upload the product image by following the same steps. Open your folder and select the image you want to use. Once it's uploaded, resize it and position it in the center of the banner using the Align tool. Then use the arrow keys on your keyboard to fine-tune its placement until it fits perfectly within the layout. Next, let's add some text. Then choose one of the predefined text styles. I'll go with the first option. Once the text is added, you'll see all of its properties in the panel on the left, where you can customize things like the font, size, color, alignment, and more. Now, I'd like to show you how to upload your own custom font. Here, you'll find a collection of ready-to-use fonts. If you'd like to upload your own font, simply click this button. Let's name it My Font. Then click Choose to open your folder. Banner now supports TTF and OTF file formats. Check this box to enable the font for your project, then click Create to continue. The font has been successfully uploaded. Next, we'll add a headline. First, I'll enlarge the text box by dragging the corner handle, and then extending the bottom edge. After that, I'll center align the text and increase its size using the numeric stepper. Next, I'll click the color icon and change the text color to white. Finally, I'll double-click inside the text box and type in the headline. We can also set the text's vertical alignment to the center for a more balanced look. Next, we'll add a rounded rectangle that will serve as the base for a custom animated highlight effect later in the project. To do this, click Add, then select Shapes, and choose a rectangle from the shape library. Place the rectangle over the headline temporarily to check that it's wide enough to cover all the lines of text. Once you're happy with the size, drag the shape layer below the text layer in the layer panel so the text remains visible on top. Finally, click the color icon, switch the fill type to solid color, and set the color to black. Next, let's add a button to our design. Open the button library and choose one of the predefined button styles. Once you've selected a button, position it wherever you'd like it to appear on the banner. Double-click the button text and change it to Add to Cart. If you need to resize the button, hold down the Alt key while dragging the side handle. This will scale the button from its center, making it easier to keep it aligned. Now, let's customize the button's appearance. Click the color settings and change the fill from the default orange gradient to a solid green color. Next, click on the text color icon. Change its color to black and increase the font size to 16 pixels. Let's make the call to action stand out a bit more and slightly increase the size of the button. Then go to the shadow settings. Change the shadow color to a dark green and reduce its opacity using the slider to create a softer shadow effect. Now that our design is complete, we can start working on the animation. I want the transitions to feel a bit quicker and more energetic, so I'll reduce the duration of the appearance and disappearance effects. First, I'll select all the layers in the timeline. Then I'll drag them inward to shorten their duration, and drag again to set the entire animation to run for 5 seconds. As you can see, each layer in the timeline is divided into 3 sections: the appear effect, where the element enters the scene, the stay section, where it remains visible, and the disappear effect, where it exits the scene. By shortening these sections, we can create a snappier animation with a quicker pace. Right now, all layers are using the default fade effect when they appear and disappear. For the background, however, we want it to stay visible from the very beginning and remain on screen for the entire animation. To change this, click the Appear section of the background layer. This opens the animation settings, where you can browse different animation styles on the left and adjust their properties. Because we don't want the background to animate in, we'll select None as the appearance effect. This makes the background visible immediately when the animation starts. We'll repeat the same process for the Disappear section. Set the effect to No Effect so the background stays visible until the animation ends, without fading out. Now let's animate the product image. I'll start by selecting the Rotate from Right entrance effect, which brings the image into view with a rotating motion from the right. To enhance the movement, I'll add an easing effect. Easing helps animations feel smoother and more natural. From the Easing menu, I'll choose Back Ease Out. This adds a subtle bounce that makes the animation feel more dynamic and interesting. Now let's fine-tune the headline animation. Since I want the headline to appear after the product image, I'll drag the entire animation slightly to the right on the timeline to delay its start. Next, I'll extend the Appear section to approximately 3 seconds. This gives the text more time to animate onto the screen, creating a smoother reveal effect. Scroll down to the Text Animation section and select Blur by Word. This effect gradually reveals the text with a smooth blur transition. Since I want the headline to appear line by line rather than word by word, I'll change the split type setting from words to lines. This creates a smoother reading experience and helps draw attention to each line as it appears. I'll quickly make some basic adjustments to the shape layer animation, and then we'll come back to it later. Now let's animate the button. Because it's one of the last elements we want to introduce, I'll move its animation further to the right on the timeline, so it appears near the end of the sequence. For the entrance effect, I'll select Scale Up. This makes the button pop into view and naturally attracts attention. I'll also add a Back Ease Out easing, which creates a slight bounce as the animation finishes. You can preview the animation at any time by moving the red playhead along the timeline. Now let's animate the black shape underneath the headline. Since this shape needs to move several times throughout the animation, we'll use an advanced animation instead of a standard preset. Click the Advanced Animation icon. We'll be animating 2 properties, vertical scale and vertical position. Next, move the playhead to the beginning of the animation, and click here to add a keyframe. Then move forward by about half a second, and add a second keyframe. At the first keyframe, click to set the vertical scale to 0%. At the second keyframe, leave the value at 100%. This creates a smooth reveal effect where the shape grows into view. Now, we'll animate the shape's position so it follows the headline as each line appears. Move the playhead to the point where the second line of text begins to animate in, and add a keyframe for the vertical position property. Then move the shape downward so it aligns with the second line, and create another keyframe. Repeat the same process for the third line. Move the playhead to the moment when the third line appears, reposition the shape so it sits behind that line, and add another keyframe. This will make the highlight smoothly move from one line to the next as the headline is revealed. Now let's create the exit animation for the shape. First, move the playhead to the moment where you want the shape to begin disappearing and add a keyframe. Next, move the playhead to the very end of the animation and add another keyframe. At this keyframe, change the vertical scale value to 0. As the animation plays, the shape will smoothly shrink until it disappears completely, creating a polished exit effect that matches the reveal animation at the beginning. To finish, click on the keyframes and apply a back ease out easing. This adds a subtle overshoot and bounce to the movement of the shape, making the animation feel smoother. You can apply easing at any point in the process, either immediately after creating your keyframes or later when you're refining the animation. While it's optional, I highly recommend adding easing because it makes a significant difference to the overall look and feel of the animation. Many advertising platforms require a static fallback image. To generate one, click on this icon to capture and create a fallback image from that moment in the animation. To give the design a more seasonal feel, let's add a widget. Open the library and select the snow widget, then adjust its duration on the timeline so it matches the length of the animation. This widget includes several customizable properties that let you create a fully tailored snow effect, but for this tutorial, we'll keep it simple. Now let's preview the result. As you can see, we've created a polished, eye-catching animated display ad in just a few minutes. Once you're happy with the result, simply click Save to store your ad. Now that we've created our first banner, let's generate additional sizes so your campaign is ready for more placements and devices. To get started, click New Size. Next, choose the banner formats you'd like to create. For example, you might add a square format for social placements and a vertical format for mobile-focused ads. Once you've selected your sizes, choose a resizing method. You can choose the reference size. This is the banner that Bannernow will use as the source design when creating the new formats. AI Resize uses artificial intelligence to reposition, scale, and optimize design elements. Auto Resize automatically repositions and scales elements proportionally. It's a great option when your layouts are close in size and use the same format or aspect ratio. For this tutorial, I will select for both new sizes the AI Resize. Click Create, and Bannernow will automatically generate the additional banner sizes for you. And that's it! You've successfully created your first banner set in Bannernow, designed an animated banner, added custom effects, and generated multiple sizes from a single design. Thanks for watching, and enjoy creating your next banner campaign with Bannernow.